and Sven Müller. So it's pretty simple. I ask some questions, they give me some answers. I don't know if they'll be truthful, but they'll give me some answers. And then with about 10 minutes left, we'll open it up to the crowd for your Q&A. So let's get started. Gentlemen, is this your first Rennsport reunion?
Yes, for me, yes, it's my first time. It looks amazing. Yesterday was the day one, and straight away when I walk by some cars, you can feel the motorsport. I mean, the heart of motorsport, racing and passion, people's, and obviously this morning with you, it's continues this fantastic journeys.
Hello everybody. Yeah, same for me. I joined Porsche Motorsport as a works driver end of 2015, so didn't make the reunion before. But yeah, really happy to be here. It's really cool to see such amazing cars everywhere on this parking lot on the other side of the bridge. Is very cool. And I'm driving a Falcon RSR in Group 7, a 2010 RSR, so it's even cooler.
Hello, good morning from my side. It's also the first time for me here. It's really amazing to see so many old cars. I mean, all the cars are much older than I am, so I don't know these cars, but it's really nice to see, and so many Porsche fans. Yeah, it's great.
Excellent. So, is there a driver here that you are really looking forward to meeting, who is here this weekend driving, one of the old timers, we'll say?
Yes, like 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to drive the 936 from Jackie X. So this car was like incredible. It was the first car in my life where I was really scared to go on power. I drove a 918. I mean, this power from 918 is really excellent, but to race or to drive the old cars with no traction control, no ABS, driving 30 centimeters above the floor, I mean, it's I jumped out of the car and I was really like, shaking like hell. And when I arrived here, I was picked up from the airport and I had a nice drive with Jackie X to the hotel here. So the weekend started already really brilliant. So it's really nice. Yeah.
I had a nice drive with the shuttle as well, but I was with Jörg Bergmeister, which is a younger legend. He's pretty old for works driver, but he's still fast though. So, yeah, I think Jack Hicks is one of them for sure. I think Derek Bell is also a really big legend for Porsche and motorsport in general. But to be honest, it's really cool. Yesterday I just went past when the legends has their autograph session, and it was really cool to see all the fans, coming to them and recognize them. And I got the question yesterday in press conference or on interview, if I would be happy to be here in 30 years or 40 years, and I think it's a pure pleasure to think that maybe in 40 years you come back here and some guys will recognize you and still sign some autograph, but therefore we still have to win a few races.
Yeah, when I was kid, I had this Porsche little cars of Jackie X. So obviously my hero of Porsche drivers always has been Jackie X. But also like Kevin said, Bell. It's one of historic name next to the Porsche car. And yesterday was walked by next to us watching the new car was coming out, the new Porsche they were delivering yesterday and the show yesterday. So it was something special, something that you are not see every day. You don't spend time with these guys every day. So it's part of this reunion, and looking forward for the next days and hopefully for also next in 2 years time.
My understanding is all three of you started your career in karting. Now, Jimmy, I'm going to start with you since you have the mic. And I've heard a story that when you began, that you were not quite forthcoming with your age when you began to kart. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, I mean, I started go-karting when I was 6. And but to start racing, you have to. The age was about 8, so I couldn't race, obviously, because I was too young. But I was already quite a big guy for 6 years old. But I really want to try to get inside. So we make a modified, some tuning on the age to be. Yeah, but it was for the good reason. It was to be part of some championship. They just start 8 years old, and for 2 years, I was driving with always older guys. So I was always 6 with 8 and 10, and when I was 8 with 10, 12, and until one point, and they realized I was too young to be older, and so they stopped me for 1 year. And I couldn't drive for 1 year, and after was a new age of driving, so I joined this age, and I was okay. From there on, I was in the correct time and the correct age.
So can we trust you'll be telling us the truth today while we're asking you these questions? Will you be honest with us?
26, right?
Sorry.
No, meaning when I ask you a question, you'll be honest with me, right? You're not going to lie about anything like you did your age.
No, it's already.
Okay, I just want to.
You show to everybody. So
I just want to know where you and I stand.
Lie.
Okay, I just want to know where we stand. Okay, excellent.
100%. I start 6 with go-kart, but I should be 8.
There you go.
So officially I was
Perfect.
8. Unofficially I was 8. Officially I was 6, and that's it.
Good. So same for you. How did you start your karting career? What age? And tell us a little about how you got started in it.
I was 4. I got a go-kart for Christmas when I was 4. My dad was driving at that time in single-seater Formula cars, and he presented me a go-kart, and I drove just testing in France. At that time, you couldn't drive until you had to be 10 to start racing at that time. So I just did testing and driving, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I kept driving, and I started at 10 years old, and then I think three of us, you start normally in national championship. So for me it was France, and then you go to international championship. Then you do you build up your career, and then when you are 15, 16 years old, normally you go to single seater or a bit later, and for me I did 2 years single seater in France, and then I started the Porsche Carrera Cup, and there the Porsche love story started.
Yeah, same as me, as Kevin. Also got a kart at 4 years old at Christmas, but honestly at the beginning I was not so interested so much. So later, when I was 10, my father was also racing at that time, and then I tried to understand, okay, this racing story is really interesting, and we bought another kart, and we did some races, but at that time was quite expensive, so we tried to save the money for later, so we didn't spend so much money in karting, and then I had a big chance. I got a big sponsor, and he made it happen to drive Formula 4, 2 years, Formula 3, and this was a good school, and and then I had the biggest chance of my life. I became Porsche Junior. It's like an apprenticeship, was for 2 or 3 years. And in my 3rd year I won like Super Cup and the German Carrera Cup Germany. And then I got the factory drive. And now it's 2 years, and really happy to be part of this nice group and nice family.
So have all 3 of you run open wheel cars as well? So why the change from open wheel to sports cars, GT cars?
Yeah, I mean, the first time when I drove a Carrera Cup car, I was like, okay, I was overdriving the car way too fast into the corner. I braked too hard, I spun, so okay, I have to come down a bit, and so it was much more heavier, the car, but the racing was much nicer. You can drive like side by side, have some touching, and this is where really nice fighting was on track. So yeah, I really like this sports car racing. Yeah.
I think growing up, at least for me, I always watched F1, and this was the goal. You know, as a kid, you start go-kart and you watch F1, and you know, at that time was with Ayrton Senna, Prost, you know, all these guys. So the goal was this, the dream was this, but as many people know, motorsport is very, very tough, very expensive, a lot of time investment from the family and a lot of money, so you need big contact, big sponsors, and it started to get expensive very early. So for me, after Formula Renault, which is kind of the second class in single-seater, I had not enough money to do Formula 3, and I got an opportunity actually to replace Patrick Pilet in Porsche Carrera Cup France, another Porsche French factory driver, which won the Carrera Cup France and then got picked up from the factory to be a factory driver, and the money was there for him from a sponsor. So I took this opportunity, started Carrera Cup, and at the end I'm really happy to be here because I enjoy life. I make, you know, my passion of, you know, living from my passion, which is very difficult. And when you look at F1 or IndyCar, there's not many people, you know, earning money and you know, enjoying the life and just driving and getting paid for that and still be passionate. So I'm really thankful. There's really little places, not a lot of people get there, but at the end it was a good choice at that point. But I think it's for all of us, we just live with you know, the dream of being Formula One, and then at one point you realize that you can't make it earlier or later. I think the latest was Jimmy. He was pretty close though.
For me, I started the racing in open wheel like everybody when I was 15, and I did this Formula Junior, like Campus and Formula Renault that Kevin was mentioned before. And after I had the opportunity to do Formula 3 and other category F3000, then it was like Formula 2 now. And after I was able to reach what every young driver they are hoping and when they are starting. So I raced 1 year in Formula 1 with Minardi in 2004, but after was difficult to find a better car that it was not, because when you reach it, it's like I always say, it's like when you're kids and you taste the Nutella. Okay, it's good, but after you want to have the Nutella every day, so it's difficult. and the same F1, you reach F1, it was always a dream come true, and when you reach the dream, you want to be part of the fighting, of the big results, but you realize that if you are not with 2 cars or 2-3 teams, you are just part of the circuits. So you just go around one race by one, and you're just a part of passenger. You know, you just do the race 2 hours. That's it. It's over. So at the end, I tried to find a different way to become professional in a different way. So I had the opportunity to do a test in. With Ferrari, where I raced for 10 years before becoming a Porsche driver in last year. And thanks to them, I joined and I discovered a different world. It was closed wheels, endurance racing, and when I started, the race was 2 hours, 3 hours endurance races plus 24 hours, and after we move off to the World Endurance Championship with Ferrari, and since last year I had the opportunity to join such a big family like Porsche, and I took this opportunity, and I'm very happy and looking forward for more years to come.
So all of you have competed in this year's 24-hour Le Mans. Sven, you had a little bad luck this year.
It's like the age thing.
Jimmy, you were 91, came in second this year. Kevin, the Pink Pig, did very well this year, first in class. So can you talk a little bit about the physical and mental preparation that you have to do for a race, like the 24 hours?
Yeah, Le Mans is not the toughest physical race you do. It's a 24 hours, so you don't sleep a lot, but you have a lot of straights, a bit like Daytona. So physical is tough. You have to prepare yourself. As Porsche factory driver, we have 2 physical tests per year, fitness tests, fitness check, and then 2 fitness camps. So we go 1 week or 5 days, twice a year, all together, do some sport, and then we get a program, and so we have to prepare ourselves as best as we can. Jimmy is quite strong on that. He's biking like hell. He's fast on the bike though, not as fast as on the car, but he's fast. And then and mentally, Le Mans is for me the hardest one mentally, because that's the one where you have the most pressure. That's the biggest race in the world in endurance races and what everybody look at it. And especially this year with the 70 years Porsche, we had the special livery on our car. And I did the start with Jimmy. Well, actually, we were fighting together in the first hour. Was fun, was good. But yeah, before the start, the pressure, also as a French driver, my only home race for that year, is it's pretty special. But mentally, just prepare yourself. I think it's difficult. It's more the experience which you get every year. You get maybe a little better and a little less stress. And physically, you just have to train and make sure you drink enough, eat enough, and try to sleep, which is sometimes not easy on the 24-hour.
So another question I have, you obviously all share cars with other drivers. Is there ever a disagreement between drivers on car setup? Or is the data what overrules those disagreements?
No, for sure there's always some different driving style. Endurance racing in GT is always about compromise. You have to do some compromise every time, a little bit on the seat fitting, because you don't have the time to do an extra seat for you. You will have. Okay, we are all quite similar, but for example, this year I drove with Timo Bernhard in German championship, which is like I don't know in inches but that's that much smaller than me. So you have to do a compromise on the seat. Then you do a compromise on setup, because maybe he's attacking less the entry of the corner than you, so the balance would be different. And but at the end, that's what makes endurance racing really a team sport, because you have to work well with your engineer, with your teammate. You have to be 100% confident in what he says, because sometimes he sets up the car the way he feels it, and with these tires, you don't have the opportunity because it's raining or whatever. So you have to be confident then that what he's doing is the right thing. So all about compromise and team sport, which is very cool, and that's where I think Porsche is strong with. We always speak about Porsche family, but it's really pretty much like this. When you walk by, you really feel that the atmosphere here it's like a family. It's like everybody can see each other and speak to each other, which is nice.
So my next question, I'll ask each of you the same question. Go back to your first time at Le Mans. What was it like? What was that experience like, coming to the track for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my first Le Mans was 2008, and obviously was lucky, because it was the first time attending Le Mans and winning Le Mans 24 hours. So it was something special that you never forget about it. It's something that always you're dreaming and you're hoping, and when it's happening, it's something good. But after Le Mans, I did from 2008 until this year, every year except of last year, 2017, and it always been high and low. It's I mean, Le Mans was good for us, for Porsche. We finished 1 and 2, and but some other times I was nearly there to winning the race, and I had some mechanical issue. 2015 I was winning, 30 minutes to go, we broke the gearbox, and we had a 1 minute advantage through the Corvette, so we didn't finish. Or 2011 I was winning, and the last 10 minutes we had engine failure. so we stopped. But also other times I was able to winning 3 times Le Mans, so it's not easy. So Le Mans, it's Le Mans. It's a unique race. You have to accept everything is coming. If he wants, he give you a good finish and good party after. Sometimes you go back home early because you didn't finish. It was so good. So it's